Hi, this is Charles. I'll be doing my negative rebuttal on if body cameras should be implemented on a state and federal level. We'll start with the first claim, which is that if police need cameras, that they need the third party, and that third party will be chosen by them, and they are chosen by them and looked for and sought after by the police because of the police's moral code and guiding forces that guide them. If that was the case, and if we trusted those morals and those guiding factors, then we wouldn't need those body cameras to begin with. So the fact that they are actively seeking them out and they are the ones that are picking them, I think that is definitely a problem. I think that does not solve anything, and that does a lot for that corruption, and that is where that corruption can happen because they do have control over that third party. That third party control that police has over them, that actually scares me more than not having body cameras. Um, in addition to that, um, I think it is a force that could be reckoned. I think that the fact that that third party could have a checks and balance system that I think that it's not going to create. And if this plan was to be implemented, I do believe that I think that third party should be chosen as that check and balance. Um, Moving forward, about the unexpected cost and how it should be implemented, um, I think there's a failure to realize all of these costs that are coming up. So, as mentioned by me, um, their training of those cameras held by those police officers, and them not being trained and us not knowing that they can't use them, it's going to be a problem. They could use that to their advantage. And they need to be trained. And so that is an expense. And the other expense of the lines for actually viewing the footage, all these unexpected charges, maintenance on them, and I'm still even failing to mention all the unexpected expenses that could come from this. Um, so there is a real cost, and I do believe that there is a real cost to this. And yes, it is a much. I think we both agree that there it is a very expensive cost, and so it might be worth it. The next moving forward, I don't how they're gonna fund this with the different cities, and how each city, no matter crime rate, population, majority to minority ratio, um, all these other factors that control why a police force would need cameras, body cameras. If we have a police force that um, does not have a problem and there's no complaints on the police officers, the police force is loved within that community, there's nothing necessarily going on. I think it will be kind of excessive to make them have cameras, especially when, if they do have these relationships to where they have to say, hey, oh, if they have to come to the door and say, hey, you're being recorded, and by the way, your mom just died in a car accident. That would ruin that police relationship with that community by just saying that. So I believe that it could be beneficial to not have them there. And the fact that they might not have them there, and the fact is they can't have them for a funding reason. And that source you say could come from somewhere else and all these other stuff. But if it's going to take more money to fund those programs than it is to borrow money from them to give to these other communities, I think that's a system set up for failure. Um, and then moving on to the last thing, how furthermore the further sustaining of these programs, I completely agree that they need to be implemented, and that not implemented, that they should be implemented in places where they need to be implemented. But the fact is, the funding, I'm not sure we know all the expenses that are incurred. So I believe there should be a push towards finding more resources, how those resources are picked, and then overall assessing all the charges and potential costs that could come to this program, um, so we could improve the longevity of it. But I do not believe that, according to financial cost and your financial plan, that and your procedure of going about things, that it is ready to be set up and then completely effective, which is what we want from our body cameras. Um, yeah. So concluding personally, I think the third party definitely needs to be assessed and checked upon, and that the police control is ultimately very dangerous for that. I do believe that the complete cost needs to be addressed, and I believe that certain places do not need these cameras, and ultimately we need to create a program that makes this sustainable for the longevity of these programs.